This is our complete updated LumaFusion tutorial for beginners. So LumaFusion has been a top contender in our best video editing apps for iPhone and iPad videos for years now. And in the latest update, it's actually been made available on Android as well. So we're gonna run through the new features, the tips and tricks step by step, so that you can learn how to edit videos on iPhone, Android, and iPad like a pro. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is open up LumaFusion. Now I'm showing you this here on an iPad. The process is almost exactly the same on Android as well. And obviously if you're on a mobile device, the same tools and functionality are going to be here, just the mobile layout does look a little bit different. So straight away we can see on the screen here, it says press plus to create your first project. So if we come down the bottom here to plus, we can come up here to where it says my project. We can give this a name. Test edit. We can specify our frame rate, our aspect ratio, and our color space, or we can have it set to default here, which is based on the first video clip added. And that's generally what I'll leave this on. So it's going to auto detect the settings from our first clip that we bring onto the timeline, and it's going to create our project based on those settings. So I'm going to hit the plus here to create our project. And then this is the overall LumaFusion interface. Up in the top left-hand corner here is where we can import all of our footage and our video assets and everything. Up here is where we've got our playback window. This is where we can preview our edit. Down here is our primary timeline, as you'll find with most video editing apps and software. Down the bottom here, we've got access to a lot of our menu items and tools and things. And we're going to cover off a lot of these as we go through. But one thing I do want to point out straight away while we are talking about the interface is you can actually change the layout here. So if you look for this little icon down the bottom here and select on this, there are some preset layouts that you can use to switch between depending on your specific editing task and where you're up to in the overall editing process. Now, personally for me, I like to leave this on the default, which is the one up in the top left corner. But also with any of these, if you grab this middle area here, you can resize these different elements as well. Now, before you start editing, it's also a good idea to check all of your settings down in the bottom right-hand corner here, especially if this is your first time opening up the app. So let's open up settings here. Again, we can customize up our edit here in terms of the frame rate, aspect ratio, or color space. We can also set our clip defaults here in terms of scaling or duration for a photo, a title, or a transition when we're going to apply those. We'll bring those into our project. Now up the top here under preferences, there's a ton of more options and things in here. But one that I would suggest that you're looking for if you are going to be editing from an external drive is you'll want to make sure that that is enabled here so your external drives can show up and work inside of LumaFusion. Now over time you can find with the caching and everything inside of LumaFusion, it can take up a bit of storage on your device. So up here under cleanup, this is where you can clean up and remove any of your temporary files, your cached files or anything to keep your device from filling up. So those are good to know about straight out. And also there's help in here if you need it too. So that's the overall interface. Now let's go ahead and import some footage. So if you've already got your files saved on your device, you could come up here to photos if they're in there. We can also come up the top here to that icon again, come down to add and edit sources. If your source or where your files are isn't displayed there, we can add those in as well. And if you're going to be working from an external drive, this is where you can use this linked folder here too. So if I open this up, we can see the linked folders that we've already linked to, and we can go ahead and add in a new folder in here too to select the areas that we want. So because my files here for this edit are just saved under downloads on my device here, I'm going to make sure that that folder is added. So I want to go ahead and press open, and you can see now I've got a link to that folder here. Now the other place you can go to find your files is up to these three little dots down to import media, and you can import directly from these different services here, or in this case from the Files app on the iPad. I could have gone through and manually picked these files and just imported those instead of linking the folder. So just like with any more professional tools, you're going to have a few different ways just so you can find the best way for you. But you want to go ahead now and import your video files, or make sure that they are accessible up in the top corner here. We're then going to go ahead and pick our primary video footage file here, which is this one here, and we're going to drag that down into our timeline. So we can see once that's loaded in, we can scrub through all of our footage here. We can pinch to zoom on this bottom timeline area to zoom in and out on our timeline. And you can see, given this is a 4K 25 frames per second file, it's just so smooth. This is one of the biggest things I love about LumaFusion, is just how fast and how responsive it is even at higher resolution, higher bitrate files too. So let's go across back to the start of our video here now. So we've got our primary footage here down in the timeline now. We can see our visual representation of our audio or our audio waveforms here. So this is going to help us when we're scrubbing through and finding the pieces that we want to remove and the pieces we want to keep. So let's say that we want our video to start here. And there's a few different ways that we can trim off the start. We can come across here to this white arrow. We can click and hold or tap and hold and drag across to that point. And when we let go, that is now where the video is going to start. So we can grab these handles on the end at any time and we can make adjustments to the start of that clip. Now, if we come across to the end, we can see that we want our video to finish about here. Again, I could grab that white handle and drag it back to where we want the video to finish, or we can actually make a cut in the timeline at that point. So I'm scrubbing across the timeline here until this blue playback head, this blue line here, is to where we actually want to make the cut. So let's go right about here, just as I look down. Now, we would normally have a graphic or something up for the end screen, so you wouldn't see me glancing down, but we can make sure our clip is selected by tapping on it, come down the bottom here to the pair of scissors. When we tap on that, it's going to split our clip at that point. So you can see now we have a clip on the left and a clip on the right. Now, if we don't need this one, we can just press remove here, hit the trash, and it is gone. So let's say we want to go ahead and remove this little area here where I am not talking. Again, there's a couple of different ways that we can do this. Let's come to where we want to make a cut. With the clip selected, we can come down to the pair of scissors and add a cut. Or one of the features I love about LumaFusion is if you two-finger tap on the screen, it's going to add that cut for you as well. So from here, if we zoom in, say, we can then select this clip here on the left. We can grab this white arrow and move it across, and it's actually going to pull the remaining clips behind on the right side along with it. So we're not left with any gaps in the timeline. So this makes it really quick to come through. We can two-finger tap on the screen, or we could click and hit the scissors, come back across to where we want to add our next cut, hit the scissors, select this clip here, hit the trash can to remove the sections that we don't want. So the step here is to go through, remove any bad takes, any mistakes, anything that you don't want to have in your finished video editing project. So we're just left with all the good takes and all the good stuff. Now, once that's done, if you want to change the order of any of your clips or little chunks of footage here, you can literally just tap and hold on them, pick them up, and drop them into where you want them. Again, all to build out the story of your edit here. Once that's done, the next step is to bring in any graphics, B-roll, or overlay footage here into your project. So I want to go up the top here to our import area. You can see I've got a folder here for B-roll, and I've got 3 video clips in there. Now, we could just tap or select a clip and drag it down into our timeline if we want the entire clip, or if we want a small section of these clips, we can actually trim them down first to make it more manageable. So let's go ahead and select a clip here. And you can see up here in this area, we've almost got like a mini timeline here. But in here, we get to specify an in and an out point, or a start and a finish point. So let's scrub through here and find the piece of the footage that we want. There's something here where this camera moves. So around here. So I want to start this clip here at this point. So I want to specify the in marker here. Let's come across to where we want it to finish. Probably about here, and let's mark an out point. Now we can either tap and drag on that clip now and drop it down into our timeline, and we can drop it on the layer above. The other option is we can use this little arrow here, and if we long press or long tap on it, we get to choose what we'd like to do. So we can insert it into our main timeline area, which is this main area here, and it will move the other clips around. So it's not going to overwrite anything. The second option is to overwrite it on the main layer. So wherever our playback head is, so it's at the start here, it's going to overwrite that section, or we have the option here just to place it on secondary. Again, a few different ways that you can do the same stuff with editing. Now, if we zoom in on this clip now, we can see just like any other clip, we can pick it up, we can move it around, so maybe we want it to start down here. And what this is doing is because it's sitting on the layer above, it means it's still going to play everything underneath it, except you're going to see this top layer instead. So if we scrub through now, you can see at this point, it's going to cut to this piece of the webcam where it does its little fancy movement piece, and then back to me underneath. But all the while, you're still hearing the audio from me talking here. Now, if we want to make adjustments to this, we've got access to those same tools. So we can grab the little arrow here. Let's trim off the start a little bit more to just before it starts moving. And again, we'll pick it up. Let's move it back over this edit. So you want to go ahead now and bring in any of your B-roll or overlay footage and get it down into your timeline. Now we're going to get to adjusting all of our audio a little later in the process, but these clips here, you can see that they do have their own audio track with them. So if we want to mute these just for now, we can come down to this little button down the bottom here, and this will show us our track controls. So you can see that each one of these tracks here, we have some controls here for them that apply just to that track. So if we want to mute this entire track here of all of our B-roll clips, we can just select here, and that's going to mute everything on that top layer. Or we could go into each one of these clips individually and manually lower the volume level, but I find this is a good way to do it right now. If you don't want that audio, that you haven't removed it, that you can come back and make adjustments to this later. Likewise, if any time you want to hide this B-roll layer, then you can actually turn off the visibility for that here as well. Another way that you could do this really quickly is you could come down and open up your track volume levels. So instead of just muting everything, if you wanted to turn it down, then you can open up this next button here, and you can see that we have a volume slider here as well. And then if you are working on a small screen, it's a good idea to tap on these again to minimize them, just so you've got your screen real estate back. Okay, now that we've got our B-roll in, the next step is to add in any titles or text. So let's come across right to the start of our video here, and let's bring up a simple name title card. So we could come down the bottom here to the plus and choose add a main title. And you can see that's automatically created down here, a title or a text clip that we can then pick up. We can move on top of our video, and then this is something that we can customize up. Now, if you want some fancier looking titles, you can come up to the top left corner here, come down to titles, and then in here, there's a lot of different presets and templates and things that you can use and literally drag and drop onto your video. So let's drag this one on. Then you can see this is something that's a little bit fancier. But again, all of these are things that you can customize up. I'm going to undo that second import there. We're just going to use this plain white text. Now to edit that, we can just double tap on our clip down the bottom here. And this is really going to open up our, I guess you call it your effects editor. And again, we've got access up here to those different presets and things, so we can apply them in here afterwards as well. But here is our text layer, your text here. But if we hit the little drop down arrow here, this is where we can customize all of this up. So opacity, size, fonts, all of that stuff is in here. But I'm going to go ahead, come over here and double click on our text. You can see that's up the top here now. We can just type in Justin Brown. And then from here, we could come down, we could change the font. Let's just go Arial rounded for this one. We could change the color if we wanted. We could even add a shadow on here as well. So lots of different options for customizing things up. But what I love about this is you can actually save these as a preset or as a favorite. So once you've got everything dialed in the way that you want it, that you're going to be using for multiple videos, you can come up here to this little star. We can give our preset a name. Let's call it Justin title, very original. And now anytime we want to use this preset, that is saved as a preset in here. But just tapping back on this title, we can pick it up, we can move it around, we can go back and adjust the sizes and all of that stuff in here as well. So yeah, pretty straightforward. Now to go back to our main timeline area, we just want to hit the little arrow back here and we're back. So again, just like any other clip, we can select it, we can pick it up, we can move it around, we can adjust the in and out points or how long it's actually on screen for. And we've now got a very simple title that appears at this point in our video and then disappears at the end here. So you want to go ahead now and add in any titles or text into your video. From there, we're going to add in any transitions and effects. So for those, we want to come up the top here to the little button in the top right-hand corner, come down here to transitions. Now they have added quite a lot of new transitions in here recently, and there's some really cool ones in here too. But I'll stress that you don't get carried away in here. This is a way that you can make your videos look very unprofessional by adding too many of these wipes and slides and bursts and things. So I'd say use these sparingly and only when they are adding value or helping you tell your story. So some of the standard ones that I would use would be a cross dissolve, a dip to black or a dip to white, or even maybe a flash to flash something up. But then to apply them, let's come across here to where we have some B-roll shown. So instead of it just appearing on screen like this, let's drop a flash here. Click and drag on that down into the start of our clip there. So now if we play this through or scrub this through, I'm talking, there is a flash, like a camera flash, then our B-roll shows up. Likewise, if we want one back the other way, we can drag and drop one on to the back end of that clip, and the same thing is going to happen. It's going to fade up, flash, and then come back to mean. Now, if we select on one of these transitions down in the timeline here, we can adjust how long they are actually shown for. So if we want to drag this out longer, we can adjust those arrows, or likewise, we can shorten it down so it's a much quicker effect. So this can be a good way to bring up some B-roll or some overlay footage. But if it's in the case of, let's come down here a bit further, say this edit here, where we've got two different clips, and there is no transition between them because the clip is the same. You could just have a hard cut between them, or what we would normally do in our YouTube videos is we would zoom in on one of the clips just to make it look a little bit different. So to do that, we want to double tap on one of the clips. Let's pick this one here, so that it opens up in our effect editor. And then down here under size and position, this is where we can essentially zoom in or scale up our clip. So if we want to pick this size here and zoom in on that, you can see we've actually scaled up our clip. Now, in order to really sell this effect so it's not so jarring for your viewers, you do want to try and get your eye position to match between the two clips. So maybe I'll bring this down a little bit now. Now we will have to go back to preview this. So if we scrub through this now, here is our original clip, and then this is our zoomed in one. You can see we're pretty close. It's not a huge difference between the shot. It almost mimics we're using a closer camera or a second camera, but it's enough to break it up for the viewers without it being too distracting or looking like a glitch. So you want to go through now, add in any transitions, any zoom in effects to your clips, but also when you're doing that, if you open back up your effects panel, there's lots of other things that you can add in here as well. So we're currently down here on this frame and fit area. We can also adjust the speed of our clips, so we can speed up, slow down, and reverse our clips on this one. This next one here is where we can stabilize our footage as well. So if you've got shaky footage, you can do all of that in here. Now, sound adjustments and color correction, we are going to cover off very, very soon. So let's go back out of this. Once you've added in all your transitions and effects, next it's time to bring in any music or audio that you want to have in your edit. So we're going to go up the top here to find our music tracks. I'm going to go to our linked folder. Let's go back here, and you can see I've got a couple of different music tracks here. So I'm just going to pick this one here. Again, just tapping on it once will open it up the top. We can choose the section of the track that we want, or we can tap and drag that clip down into our timeline here, and we can edit it down the bottom here. And again, just like any other clip, we can pick it up, we can move it around. We have the ability to trim it, make adjustments, add cuts, just as we would with any other clip. So I'm going to come across to the end here. I'm going to shorten it down so that it finishes right at the end of our video. And we can also layer these things up too. So if we did want to have some extra sound effects or maybe a second music track that we wanted to bring in, we can actually overlap them. We could fade one out, fade one in. All of that stuff can be done easily in LumaFusion. So you can have multiple layers of audio and video. I'm going to remove that last track now. So now that you've got your music in there, you might find that you're tightening up some of your edits, maybe making some minor adjustments. You might find that depending on your edit, you want to match some of your edits to the beat of the music. So you want to go through and do that now as a first pass. And then we're going to adjust our volume levels. Now for this, you want to make sure that all of your spoken pieces, your primary audio, is set to the correct level first, and then you can adjust your music or your sound effects second. So for this, again, I like to bring up our audio volume levels down the bottom here. I'm going to grab the volume slider here for our music track layer. I'm going to grab that volume and just drop it down to -90 or nothing, or we can hit the little mute there so that we're not hearing it. Likewise for our B-roll. So the only thing we're hearing is our primary footage here. Now it really is as simple here as coming back to the start. You could just hit play on your video and you will see the audio bars here move. Here's how to remove copyright claims on. So you can see we get the audio bars moving here on the side as our video plays, giving us an indication of how loud or quiet our video is. So for ours, we had it in the green into the yellow, but not into the red. And likewise, we could see it on the actual video layer here as well. And that's pretty much exactly where you would want it. If your audio is too loud and it's going into the red area, it's actually distorting and it's not going to sound any good. If it's only down here very low in the green, it's going to be too quiet. So you want to make adjustments either on the entire track level here, which would make sense in our case where it's the same camera, same microphone for the entire spoken piece. We could maybe bump that audio up a little bit or take it down a little bit to get it to where we want it. Again, audio is a creative thing. You just want to make sure that it's not too loud or too quiet. So this is how we do it on an entire track, so applied to all of the clips on that layer. Or we could double tap on an individual clip to open up our editor. We could come down the bottom here to audio, And in here we have a gain or a volume adjustment here that we can move up and down. So let's take that back to 0 there now. But one thing else you can do in here, which is more advanced, is you can actually use keyframes to adjust your audio up and down for specific areas inside your video. So let's say we come across to the start of our video here, and we want to have the audio much lower until around here. Then we'll boost it up a bit, and then let's bring it back down. So to do this, we need to be using keyframes. So we're back at the start now. Let's add a keyframe by hitting down the bottom here. Let's lower the volume to where we want it. So let's just say we wanted it for some reason at -17 at the start. So we can see that green line down there now is representing that. Let's come across to where we want to boost it up. Let's add another keyframe. Then we come across a little bit more and add another keyframe. Now this second keyframe here, we can then increase the volume to where we want it, and you can see what it's doing there. It's actually raising our volume or increasing our volume between those two keyframes. So we can have it up at this volume level for as long as we'd want. We need to create an endpoint for that volume level, so another keyframe. So that's where we want it to start coming back down. Then we can come across to where we want it to be at its lowest level again, and we can drag that back down to wherever we want it. So you can see now our volume level is at that lower volume. It boosts up at this section and then comes back down. All of this very simply using keyframes. So you want to go ahead now and you want to adjust your volume levels on your primary clips first. And then after that, we're going to do that with our music track. And again, the process is exactly the same. We can increase this volume level here to where we're not overpowering our spoken piece, but to where it sounds good. But one other really cool feature that is built into LumaFusion is what's called audio ducking. So if we double tap on this to bring this music track up into our advanced editing area, we can come down here to configuration, and in here we have what's called audio ducking, and you see it's on auto by default. So what this does is it'll automatically adjust or duck down the volume level when there is spoken audio or other audio in your edit as well. So by leaving this here right now, this is going to keep our audio at a lower level, and then if there's any areas where I'm not speaking, it's going to automatically boost it back up and then lower it back down for us. So if you are creating videos where you're starting and stopping talking, then this could be a good solution for you. For me personally, with our type of YouTube videos, I don't use it, so I would leave this set to none, and I would manually set the gain or the volume level for this track. But you've got a lot of cool stuff in LumaFusion in terms of dynamics processor, limiter, you've got your graphic equalizer down here, but there's also a bunch of other filters and things across the top here that can really help you dial in the audio. And again, you can save your presets or your favorites here as well, so that you don't need to recreate them from scratch every time. So now that your audio is done, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to color grade or adjust the colors in our video clips here. So you want to come back to the first clip, we're going to select on that. Again, we're going to double tap on it so that it opens up our editor. We then want to come down to the bottom here to our color and effects area. And straight away we can see, again, we've got a lot of different presets and things that we can choose. Now think of these like Instagram filters or Instagram presets. We can just change up the look and feel of our video just by using these. So if you find something that is a fit, then by all means use it or use it as your starting point, but you can see all the options you have down below here to customize that up. So I'm going to go back to original, so we have nothing extra applied. Now up the top here, you've also got LUT support as well. If we come across, there's some different effects and vignettes and different looks that you can apply to your video. You've also got filters in here to sharpen and to blur your video, and there's some other crazy effects and things in here too. And for those of you that are looking for that green screen effect, then it's up the top here too. But going back to the color correction, again, I've got none of these filters applied, just the original footage, and you can manually adjust your colors and stuff in here too. So the first thing I would do would be boost the brightness a little bit. I would then come down here, make any adjustments to the colors that need to be changed. So if there was too much blue, we could slide this slider the opposite direction, maybe add a bit more orange and red. Again, these are normally very minor adjustments. From there, I'd come up to the saturation, and I'd normally boost this up a little bit just to make some of the colors pop. Now, you don't want to drag this up too much. It's going to amplify them too much, just a little bit here. Now, from here, you could either come up to the levels and move these around to, again, change up the shot to get it looking the way that you want. Or a simpler version is just playing with the contrast slider here, making minor adjustments to that. Now, if you want to preview the edits that you've made, you can hit the little eyeball here and that will turn it off. So that's the original, and this is with our edits made. So you can see it just pops a little bit more. Now we can again save this as a favorite by hitting the little star Let's call it JB Color, and that now shows up as a favorite here for us. So if we go back now to our clips, so we can see now we've got our color grade applied to our first clip, but not the other clips in our timeline here. So there's a couple of different ways that we could do that. If there's only a couple of different clips, we could just select them either individually or using our multi-select tool down the bottom here, and we could select the clips. I'm just going to pick these two for now. Now we can come down here to our effects. So we don't need to open up the full effect mode, and we can pick our preset here if we'd saved one. And that's then going to apply that to our clip here for us. So these next two clips here now have those same effects applied. Another way that we can do it is let's select our first clip again, and let's choose the little clipboard down the bottom here, and we can choose copy. Now, not only have we copied the clip, we've also copied all the effects. So we can see here that we've actually applied the effects to these next two because they have the little effect icon on them, but these other clips here don't have that applied. So I'm going to select all the remaining clips in our timeline on this layer. So again, select the first one, come down to this little tick. Now we could just tap on each one of these, or what we've got at the top here is we've got our handles again. So our in and out point. I can actually drag this out point one across to the end of our video. And when I let it go, it's now selected everything to the end of the timeline. Now it has actually selected our B-roll clips above as well. So we can deselect those by opening up our layer tools here, and I can lock our B-roll layer. So if I zoom out now, you'll see that all the clips from that point onward are selected. I can then come back down to our clipboard. Now in this case, the only one I want to apply is the actual color grade itself. Just in case we had any zoom in or zoom out effects or any specific volume changes we made on an individual clip, I'm going to deselect them. So the only thing I'm pasting here is our color effects. I'm then going to select here, paste attributes, and that has now been applied. We can see that little icon on all of our clips. Again, this stuff in LumaFusion can save you so much time. So from here, we would be unlocking our B-roll layer. You'd go through and you can make your color adjustments on those clips too, as you need to. And then once we're done from there, it is then time to save or to export our video. So we're going to come down to the share button down the bottom here. We're going to choose movie. It's going to ask us where we want to share it to. Photos is just our device here. We can go direct to YouTube or to Vimeo, or we can add another destination. But what I would recommend is that you're saving it straight to your device first. That way you can check it before you're automatically uploading it to YouTube. So I'm going to choose photos. Again, all of these settings here are based off the first video clip that we added, our primary footage. So you'll most likely find that these settings are going to be pretty close for you. I love down here that it gives you an estimated file size as well. So if you are looking to export something that is a specific size, or you need something smaller, then you can adjust your settings in here to get the size that you want. So for instance, if we didn't want a 4K export here and we needed to change that to 1080, I can hit the little button here on the side. I can then choose 1080p, and it's also adjusted our bitrate or the quality here as well, meaning that our file size is smaller. But again, with any of this stuff, we can manually adjust those as well. So if we wanted to increase our bitrate back up and still export at 1080p, we could pick Ultra here, 70 megabits per second, and now our file size is slightly larger and slightly better quality. But again, if I'm scaring you at this section, you're probably just going to be able to leave it at default in most cases. Once all your settings are correct, you just hit the little share button at the top here, and that's going to go ahead and render your video out. Once that's done, I would suggest that you're playing it back so that you can preview everything, see that everything is all good. Obviously, jump back in here and make any changes if you need to, but then your video is done and it is ready to release. So that's a complete end-to-end tutorial editing in the latest version of LumaFusion, which again, will work on iOS and Android. Now, the fastest way to edit your videos is to follow a step-by-step process. So you're not jumping all over the place and jumping straight into color grading first and then coming back and working on the story. You want to be efficient, you want to be strategic. And that's why linked on screen, there is a free PDF download for you to help you with this. This is our editing process step-by-step that you can edit in the fastest, most efficient way, as I've shown you in this video, with any program or any app. So don't forget to download your free copy linked on screen now. Edit faster, and I will see you in the next video.